before I want to go further, I really want to focus that today's live session is going to be mainly around PTE reading section, because we have received so many questions and requests to cover some important areas to improve our reading section in the PTE test. So in today's session, I'm going to talk about grammar, vocabulary, collocation, some PTE myths, and other related contents that are really going to boost your score in PTE reading section. So let's get started. I'm going to share my slides throughout the live session. In case if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just let me know through typing your comments in the chat box, and I'll try my best to answer it. All right, let's get started. So, as we know, in the PTE reading section, we have to do different types of questions. We have to do fill in the blanks questions. We have to do reorder as well, and also multiple choice questions, single answer, and multiple choice, multiple answer questions. Now, for the reading section, the fill in the blanks are the most important ones, and also it contains more points for other two sections. Hi from Gwen. Hi from the other person. Sorry, I cannot pronounce this name, but hello. I'm very happy to meet all of you. Hi, New. I hope you are doing well, New, and keep being safe from COVID. And all of you are being healthy and safe in this lockdown. I'm stuck here in Melbourne, and I'm also in lockdown. So yeah, I really understand what people are going through during this lockdown period. I just hope all of you are safe and healthy and practicing English all the day. Right. So as I was saying, in PTE reading section, fill in the blanks are the very important questions, and it will give you not only points for reading section itself, but also in other sections as well, like writing section. But sometimes these fill in the blanks are pretty hard for English language speakers, because you need other associate knowledge to be able to answer these fill in the blanks questions. So for that, we are going to talk about what are the building blocks, or what are the main things you need to work on if you want to get more score or better score in fill in the blanks from the reading section. Not only from the reading section fill in the blanks, but also for fill in the blanks in listening section as well. We are also going to talk about some confused words which are pronounced in the same way, but the meanings are very different when you write those words. And also, you're going to talk about some myths around PTE. All right. Hello from Dao as well, and nice to meet you. Yes, nice to meet you too. Many people are watching our video. I mean, not the video, sorry, live stream, and I'm pretty excited to meet all of you. Yes, Neil, you are great. I'm very happy to know that you are great. And yeah, I'm doing well as well. As you can see, I'm still surviving and doing the live session for all of you. So yeah. All right. Please keep interacting. This makes me happy, and I feel more excited to share all the information with all of you. Right, okay. So the first thing about reading fill in the blanks is that, just first let me give you an example. When you want to design a building or do a work on a building or architecture building, first you don't just start working on it. You first collect and gather all the essential things, for example, bricks, cement, and other things that are really going to help you to build the building. So in the same way, if you really want to work hard on reading fill in the blanks, in the same manner, we need to gather building blocks of English language. Without those things, without knowledge on those things, you really can't improve your fill in the blanks questions. It doesn't matter how many questions you practice every day. If you don't have those base knowledge in English, you are not going to improve. So the first thing that we need is grammar knowledge. Grammar is the lifeline of English. You cannot say one sentence without using grammar. So the stronger grasp you have over the grammar in English language, the better and the easier it will be for you to understand every sentence in a fill in the blanks questions. And you can easily predict what kind of answer would be in the specific blank. So grammar is really important. All right. Okay. Second one, vocab. Now, vocabulary is also very important. I can't emphasize vocab enough. If you don't know the meaning of a word, you never can guess or assume what can be the answer for a specific blank. So vocabulary is also very important. Collocation. Now, collocation is extremely important. Most of the times it goes unnoticed, and most of the people don't even realize the importance of collocation in English. Without collocation, we can't speak or communicate with other people, especially with the native speakers. Now, in case you don't know what is collocation, we're going to talk about collocation in detail in our upcoming slide. But before that, just know, or if you want, you can take note. You need to develop your knowledge in grammar, in vocab, and collocation if you really want to do well in fill in the blanks from reading section. I have another comment from Sadman. I'm excited for today's live session. By the way, hi. Hi, Sadman. I'm really excited to meet you as well. I hope this session is going to be helpful and you're going to learn something exciting and new from me. So welcome to today's live session. All right. So the question is, what is collocation in English and why this is so important for fill in the blanks? So let's get into it. A collocation is a group of two or more words that is almost always used together. So collocation is most of the times two words or quite few times three words as well. And these words always work together to convey a specific meaning in English language. For example, heavy rain, big decision, break a habit, make a mistake. Now, if you see all the things, heavy rain, there are two words together, they are conveying us a very specific meaning, a specific type of rain. So from the pictures in this slide, the third picture is showing an image of heavy rain. It means extreme rain, where for a long period of time, it keeps raining and you can't go outside to do normal activities. That's the meaning of heavy rain. Big decision, we know what is a big decision. Big decisions means the decisions which have quite a very good influence in your overall life. Break a habit, what is the meaning of break a habit? Break a habit means when you have a habit which is very detrimental for your health or your social well-being, so you stop doing that. You remove that habit from your life. That is the meaning of break a habit. For example, the last picture from this slide, smoking is very bad for our health. So if you are a smoker and you want to quit smoking, you can say, I have broken the habit of smoking. Make a mistake. Obviously, we all know what is the meaning of make a mistake. So in all these phrases, you can see there are two or three words coming together and forming a very specific meaning in English. Now, if you talk with a native speaker, you will never hear they are saying huge rain instead of heavy rain. Large decision instead of a big decision. They are never going to say large decision. They are never going to say finish our habit or ending a habit. They will always say break a habit. They will never say do a mistake. They will say make a mistake all the time. So yeah, if you are a beginner level English speaker, and if you say like, I did a mistake or I do mistakes, Maybe I'll understand, or any other native speaker will understand what you are trying to say, but that's not grammatically correct when you are trying to write that thing or when you are trying to communicate with a native speaker. So in PTE, only conveying or showing your understanding is not enough. You also have to be grammatically correct all the time. So even if the computer understands that, yes, what do you mean by finishing a habit, it will not give you a point because that's not grammatically correct. You have to write break a habit. So sometimes some fill in the blanks for some questions in the fill in the blanks, they give you a blank, which is a part of a collocation. So in case you know a collocation, for example, you have a sentence where there is a blank, like dash, and then decision. Now, if you know the collocation that it's big decision, you can always make the answer correct. You will not be confused between choosing big or large to put in the blank. So that's why the more collocation knowledge you have, the better understanding and better command you will have over the English language. And when you see a blank, and if that's a part of a collocation phrase, you can easily choose the answer. You won't be very confused about it. Now, how to improve collocation? Practice and having more exposure with native speakers. The more you listen how native speakers speak, the better understanding you will have about the collocation. So the point is that some words always go together in English and some do not. So heavy rain, these two words go together. Huge rain, it never goes together. And the point is there is no grammatical reason why. I can't give you a set of rules that you can follow to, make collocation. It's just the way it is. Native speakers make the rules, and there is no specific reason behind that. All right, time to take some comments. All right. Hi, Jack. Nice to meet you. From Julie, hi, what's the difference between idioms and collocation? Should we use them in PTE? Well, Julie, that's a very good question. So the difference between idioms and collocation means it's pretty same, I can say, but in PTE, we usually don't use idioms and collocation, idioms. The reason is idioms are mostly used in spoken language, not in academic context or written areas where you write something like essay, summary, or write from dictation and all those stuff. So yes, if you are speaking with someone, for example, when you're doing the speaking section of PTE, you can use idioms, that's fine, but not too much. But definitely not in writing section or any other section. For example, in listening section, you have to do summarize spoken text, where you have to listen to recording, and based on that, you have to write a summary. I don't suggest using idioms for that. But otherwise, idioms and collocation are pretty much same. It's not too different from each other, but yeah. Okay. So that's collocation. More examples of collocation. Making a bed. So when you wake up in the morning, you want to fix your bed, clean your bed. You're never gonna say other words. You are always gonna say, make a bed. When I wake up in the morning, I make my bed. Doing homework, saving time, doing the dishes. So after you eat your dinner, lunch, or breakfast, we don't say, I'm cleaning my dish. Native speakers say, I'm doing my dish. That automatically means we are cleaning it. Giving someone advice. That's also an example of collocation. So most of the times, if you have like 5 blanks from one passage in reading fill in the blank question, out of these 5 blanks, 1 or 2 will always be a collocation example. So if you have enough knowledge about collocation, you won't be confused too much about choosing which word is the correct one for a specific blank. So yeah, collocation is important. Now, as I was saying in the very beginning, like grammar, vocabulary, and collocation, these three are the building blocks to improve your fill in the blank score in reading section. Now, the question arises, how to improve our grammar? How can we be very good in understanding all the grammar rules, if not all the basic rules at least? So there are 4 ways of doing it. First one is learning the basics of grammar. There are lots of grammar rules. Obviously, you don't need to know everything at the moment. Learn just the basic ones. Practicing the grammar. So after we learn all the basics, it's time to practice. Now, in this slide, the third picture is actually giving us illustration, example of where we should be practicing our grammar. So after we learn the basics of grammar, we need to practice it in our everyday life, when we are at school, when we are at our home, when we are at our work, job or workplace, when we are playing with our friends, when we want to share our ideas with our family members, relatives, or other people. Wherever you are, whenever you have a chance or opportunity, start speaking in English using all the new rules that you have just learned. Otherwise, you will just keep learning and forgetting. If you don't implement those things in your everyday life, you will forget it. So the first step to improve your grammar is to learn it, then implement those rules in our everyday life. Avoiding common mistakes. So we should also be very aware and conscious, like what are the common mistakes people face, people make when they start speaking in English? What are the frequently confused words that people can make mistakes with? If you are aware of those things, when you're speaking, you will consciously avoid using those mistakes. All right, so it will make you a better speaker or writer of English language. Finding reliable resources. It's extremely important because during this time, we all have access to internet, and not all the web pages give us authentic information about English grammar. So while you are learning something new, make sure that resource is very reliable, that you can trust all the information on that specific web page or website. If not, you are learning something wrong. So you're investing your time, your energy into learning something which is not correct. So yeah, whatever you learn, make sure it's a very reliable resource. A question from Trung Dao: the useful daily expressions are collocations, aren't they? Yes, that's correct. So most of the times when you're speaking and you're expressing what you usually do in your everyday life, all of those things can be expressed using collocations. You are right, yes. So the more collocation and the specific phrases you know, the more natural and more fluent your communication would be with a native speaker or anyone. And the more natural English speaker you will sound. So yeah, that's right. All right. So as I have said, first step is learning the basics of grammar. So you can ask me, what is the basic of grammar? What are the basic things a person should know when they're trying to improve their grammar knowledge? The first one is the mother of English language, parts of speech. Extremely, extremely important. So there are 8 parts of speech, and we need to know all of this when we are learning and trying to improve our grammar knowledge. So the first one is nouns. Nouns, we all know what is a noun: person, place, thing, idea, emotion, animal, or event. Anything that has a specific name is a noun. For example, my name is Noshin. Noshin is a noun. You all have a specific name by which people know you. All of those things are noun. So understanding and identifying nouns is very important. You're most welcome, Trung. Okay. Then comes pronouns. Yep, I, she, they. These are pronouns. Adjectives modify nouns and describe characteristics of nouns. So when you want to describe someone, some place, or some occasion, the way you describe it, for that you need adjectives. For example, now here in Melbourne, it's night. If I want to describe night, I'll say, when it is night, it's dark outside. So dark is an adjective. If you're from somewhere where it is a daytime, you can say, when it's a daytime, there is sun outside, it's sunny, or it's a cloudy weather, or it's a rainy weather. All these things are adjectives. So when you want to describe something or someone, the words that you use to describe it are adjectives. Verbs. Verbs are very important. Verbs are the actions and to tell people, the other people, what a noun is doing. So right now, I'm talking, I'm speaking, and all of you are listening. So yeah, that's your action. Listening is your action and speaking is my action. So the words that explain our actions, what I'm doing as a noun, is a verb. Adverbs. Obviously, quickly, well, slowly. So these words, whenever a word has ly in the end, most of the times, not all the time though, those words are adverbs. Prepositions. Prepositions are extremely important and also very confusing at times. So when you want to indicate the relationship in time, space, or direction, we use preposition. So if you have a book on the table and you want to tell someone where is the book, if it's on the table or under the table or beside the table, when you want to explain the situation or position of something or someone, you use prepositions. So knowing this is very important because sometimes in reading fill in the blanks, they give you blank on preposition. And if you don't have enough knowledge about the rules of preposition, you can't answer that. It will be very confusing for you. Conjunctions. Conjunctions are something that connect information together. So, or, for, but, and, although, since, while, these are conjunctions. Interjections are very important when we want to share or express how we feel about something or someone. So if I say, wow, this place is amazing, or wow, she is great at what she does, when we want to share our expressions in that specific way, we use interjections. And articles. Articles are not specifically parts of speech, but this is something really important. A, an, and the. These three are called articles in English, and no sentence can stand without an article. So the is the definite article. When you want to specifically talk about something very specific, you use the. Otherwise, you use a or an for indefinite articles. So if a word is beginning with a letter vowel, we use an. If a conjunction, then a. Also, this is important for some kind of fill in the blank questions. All right. Also, we need to have better knowledge and understanding of how sentences are organized in English. So we have to have knowledge about proper word order. So in English, sentences are structured following subject, verb, and object order. Okay, so first there would be subject, then there would be a verb, then there would be an object. That's how English language works, and we need to have a better insight about that as well. For example, Andrea ran to the door. So subject, Andrea, then verb, ran, then to the door, the other part. We don't say run to the door, Andrea. So whenever you are writing something, especially in summary or essay, always keep in mind subject, verb, object rule. Conjugate verbs properly. Also, this is important. When we are using verbs or tenses for a specific sentence, you have to focus what is the subject. If that is happening in the present, or if that happened in the past, or sometime that will happen in future. Based on the mood, the subject, the occasion, the context of a sentence, you will have to choose the verb. So conjugate verbs properly. Conjugate means relating the verb properly, depending on subject or the time or the place where it is happening. So we have simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and then simple past, past continuous, past perfect. Then you have simple future, future continuous, and future perfect. So we have to understand what are the different forms of a verb. So bake is the simple present verb, baked is the past one. So yeah, you have to know what is the present form, what is the past form, or what is the present perfect form of a specific verb. And based on that, you have to use that in sentences. And last but not the least, punctuation. Punctuation is very important when you are writing essay, when you are writing write from dictation questions or summary in PTE test. Now, what is punctuation? Full stop, comma, explanation, semicolon, colon, all of these things are punctuation. And all of those things have specific rules to use in a sentence. If you go to Google and search for punctuation rule, there will be heaps of resources, and you can improve your knowledge about that. And also, if you make a mistake with punctuation, if you don't properly put a full stop somewhere or a comma somewhere, you will lose grammar point as well for essay and for summary writing as well. So knowing where to put full stop, where to put comma, where to put a semicolon, all of these things are really important. So yeah, punctuation is an important part of language because it indicates starts, stops, pauses, and relationships. So yeah, if you are beginning a new sentence, the first letter is always going to be capital. When you're ending a sentence, you must put a full stop in the end. If you don't follow these rules, you are going to lose significant marks for grammar in all the writing areas. How to practice grammar? Pay attention to how other speakers talk. Now, this is important, like improve your active listening. When you're talking to some other people, or when you're listening to something like watching a movie or listening to news, especially for native people, just focus how they're constructing their sentences, where they are placing words, how they're using words, how they're using phrases, or how they're using collocation, how they're using prepositions. So when you pay more attention to how native speakers speak, you are going to learn a lot more grammar from those experiences. Play word and grammar games. Obviously, this is going to help. So when you go online and you search for words game or grammar games, you'll find lots of websites where you can test your knowledge and you can learn more knowledge from your mistakes. And after, if you make a mistake, they will also show you an explanation why something is right and why you made a mistake, why something is wrong. So you will not only learn what is the right way, you will also learn why you made a mistake. So you will have some backup explanation for that. Read children's books. Very interesting. If you are a beginner level speaker and you have lots of gaps that you need to fill in your English language, start reading children's books because those are written in a very simple English, but lots of new ideas, lots of new phrases and collocations and grammar things that you will be able to learn. And those things are not very hard. So it's not going to be very boring, tiring for you. You will enjoy those things, but also at the same time, you will learn lots of new things. Read a variety of material. So if you are an intermediate level learner or a proficient level learner, and you just want to keep practicing your grammar knowledge, like you are very confident in your knowledge and you know everything, in that case only, read a variety of other material. For example, higher level journals, research papers, newspapers, novels, lots of different materials. But if you are a beginner level, I don't suggest you to do that, because this way more of the words will be very hard for you. You will be demotivated. So start from something new where most of the things you already know. You will keep be interested into learning more, reading more, and only start reading other things if you are very confident in your existing knowledge, or if you think you are a very professional or proficient speaker of English. So these are the 4 very useful and effective ways to practice your grammar knowledge. How to avoid making mistakes. So again, I said, like, there are some confusing words in English language which sound very similar, but the meaning is very different. So these are called homonyms, homophones, and homographs. So you can take a note of all these 3 words and research more in your free time. So homonym means when a word has multiple meanings based on a context. For example, suit yourself. If I say you just suit yourself, it just means adjust yourself in a certain situation. But at the same time, if I say you are wearing a suit, it means you are wearing a specific kind of dress. So the word suit can be very different in different contexts and situations. So this is an example of homonym, where one specific word will have multiple meanings depending on a context. Then comes homophones. Homophones are 2 different words that have different meaning, different spellings. But when we speak those words, when we pronounce those words, those pronunciations are pretty similar. So for example, I want to go, it means I want to go somewhere. But if I say 1 + 1 is 2, it means something else. This is a very different 2 than the 2 in I want to go. So these kinds of homophones are very, very important for summarized spoken text, where you have to listen to a recording and then write a summary. Because when they are speaking, they are not going to show you and tell you what is the meaning of different words. They will sound very similar, but they will have different meanings and different spellings as well. So if you are not aware of these things, you will listen something, you will write something else, and you will lose marks. So yeah, homophones are specifically very important for PTE. Then comes homographs. Now, homograph is, again, very confusing. It will be like 2 different words, but they have very similar spelling and very similar pronunciation, but they mean very different. This is, again, very important for PTE. So homophones and homographs, I want all of you to improve your knowledge about homophones and homographs, all the words that sound very similar when you're saying, but when you're writing, it has different meaning, it has different spelling. For example, for homograph, bus. So if you look at the second example under the homograph, if you want to mean a fish, you will write or say bus. But if you want to mean an instrument, you will not say bus, you will say bass. So the spelling is same, B-A-S-S, but when you're pronouncing, you're saying bass, it's not bus. So yeah, sometimes we can't just rely on the pronunciation, because pronunciation and the spelling are quite different for some words. And if you are not aware of these things, you will make many mistakes in listening section, where you have to listen to something and then write something. Okay, let's take comments. From Fan, are homonyms like they have the same spelling but different meaning? Yes, Fan, that's right. So homonyms are basically one word. So one word, since it's one word, the spelling is always same, but they will have different meaning based on different context. From Julie, the grammar is uniform between English, British versus American. So you mean there is no difference in grammar rules between British English and American English. Yes, in grammar rules, it's the same. There is no difference between British and American, like the spelling one. In spelling, we have difference, but not in grammar. Grammar is same for all versions or variations of English. Okay, so yeah, practice more homophones and homographs for PTE. All right, let's talk about some confusing words like it's or its. Now, this can be very confusing. So if you write it's with an apostrophe in it, it means it is or it has. But without any apostrophe, it's only its, it means someone's belonging, like its teeth, its bark. So if you want to refer to someone else as something, you say its. So you never write it's without an apostrophe to mention it is or it has. If you want to write it is or it has and you want to write the short form it, you write it's with apostrophe. But if you want to say its teeth, like a dog's teeth, so the teeth belongs to the dog as per the picture here. You don't use apostrophe for that. This can be very confusing sometimes for many people. They don't understand when to put apostrophe and when not to put apostrophe. So you will put apostrophe in its only when you mean it is or it has. So if you want to write the short form of it, if you want to use the contraction of it, you use apostrophe, yes. So it's and its, it sometimes can be really confusing. All right. Effect or effect. Again, this sounds pretty similar. When we are using and pronouncing these two words, it sounds very similar, but the meaning is different. The spelling is also very different. So effect with a, is a verb. It means to have influence. It means to have an impact on something. But the effect with e, it's the noun. It's the consequence of something. So if I say, I have short-term memory, and this short-term memory affects my performance in a test. So in that sentence, I'll use effect with a because it's a verb. My short-term memory affects my performance in the test. But if I say, my poor performance in the test is an effect of my short-term memory, then it will be effect with E, because in this sentence, I'm talking about the consequence, the result or the outcome of my short-term memory. Because I have short-term memory, I can't remember things for a long period of time. I have poor performance in the test. So my poor performance is the effect, the consequence. So when you are confused, if you need to write effect with A or effect with E, just look at the sentence and see how you're using the word effect, if it's a verb or if it's a noun. If it's a verb and you are talking about the impact of something, you use effect with A. If you're talking about a consequence, you use effect with E. So yes, when you are listening to a recording in PTE test and they are saying affecting, don't just blindly write effect with A or effect with E. Just try to identify first what are they trying to say, if it's a verb or if it's a noun, and then decide which spelling you need to write. So yeah, this is sometimes really confusing. Then comes other pair of words, dessert or dessert. The spelling is again different, but pronunciation is almost same. Desert with one S, it means a place where there is sand and there is no life. But dessert with double S is something which is sweet. You eat after you have your main meal in lunch or dinner. So again, don't just whenever you listen to the word desert, start writing with single S or double S. First, we need to understand what is the context. What are they trying to say? If they're trying to talk about some food, if it's a food related context, it will be desert with double S. If it's a topic about some space or place where people don't usually live, it's very hot, then obviously the other spelling, desert with single S, will be placed in a context. So context is important, and knowing that two versions of the same pronunciation is there in English language is also very important, because if you're not aware of these differences blindly all the time, you will just listen to anything and write something else. So yeah, desert or dessert is actually a very important thing and very confusing as well. Again, your or your pronunciation is very similar, but obviously the spelling is different, meaning is different, and grammatically these two spellings also mean two different things. So your with apostrophe in the middle is the short form of you are. So when you want to say you are something and you don't want to say the full form, or you don't want to write the full form, you can write your with apostrophe. But your without any apostrophe, Y-O-U-R, your, it means something belongs to you, like your books, your pen, your education. So when you listen someone is saying your, don't just jump into the conclusion of choosing just one, your with apostrophe or your without apostrophe. First understand if they're trying to use the short form of you are, or they are trying to say if they possess something, if something belongs to them, if something belongs to them and they want to say like something is mine. In that context, it would be your, Y-O-U-R, not the other one. So again, it sounds very same. The pronunciation is also very same, but spelling and the meaning are very different. By the way, one more thing I want to say, when you are writing in PTE, for example, in writing section, essay or summarizing written text or summarizing spoken text or write from dictation, don't use short form, because this is an academic text, academic test, and in academic test, we don't write short form. So if you want to write you are, always write you are, or it is. Don't write the short form. These short forms are only for speaking. When you're speaking to someone or when you're doing the speaking section of PTE, you can use the short form, that's fine, but not for the writing section. All right. How do I find reliable resources for grammar practice? So as I said, first step of improving your grammar is to learn the basics. And so far we have talked about some basic information about grammar. We have to know parts of speech, we have to know collocation, we have to understand homonym, homophone, homographs, and all those stuff. And then I say, when you are trying to practice grammar, you have to focus on if the resource where you are learning from is a reliable resource or not. So yeah, how do I find that? Read style guides and grammar books. So if you are a person who learns better from books, hard copy books, not the soft copy ones, in shops, obviously, you're going to find some authentic grammar books. Follow those things. And also you can download from websites, style guides. So what is a style guide? Style guide means descriptive guide where they talk about how native speakers speak, how you should be speaking or interacting with other people, and also how usually native speakers speak. So one is ideally what you should be doing, and another thing is how usually what happens in reality. So they give you descriptions and explanations how usually people speak in an English-speaking country, or how different countries' native speakers use English to explain or express themselves. So those are called style guides, and you can find those online. So this is one way and one kind of reliable resource. So I have a question from Julie. Should we use you or you are or your as it will count as an extra word in the word count? Okay, so Julie, yes, if you write you are, those will be 2 words. But the thing is, when you're writing, as I say, don't use the short form. Okay, try to write you are and still being within the word limit. Okay, just to save one extra word, don't write the short form because that's not the ideal way of writing. From Julie Gwen, yes, I often confuse. Yeah, that's right, Julie. This often native speakers also make the same mistake. They don't know the difference between you are and your and your. So yeah, this is important. From Trung, can you give me some advices to avoid incorrect preposition? Well, for preposition, you can first understand where they are used and how they are used, okay? Learn the basic rules. You don't have to learn all the rules. For example, to is one preposition, okay? Now, where to use the preposition to, you will find lots of rules. Don't start memorizing all those rules, okay? First learn where most of the times naturally we use the word to in our language. Learn that and do some practice exercises maybe. Maybe you learn 3 or 4 rules of preposition to, and after you learn those things, do some exercises. Maybe do 10, 20, 30 questions. And obviously you are gonna make some mistakes, right? And when you make a mistake, figure out why you made the mistake, take special note on those mistakes, and you will never make the same mistake. Trust me. When I personally teach, like for example, punctuation rule to a student, they are like, yeah, I know what is the rule, and they actually understand what they're talking about. And then they go to doing exercise, and they keep making mistakes. And after making 1 or 2 mistakes on this topic, they take special note, like, yeah, I make this mistake in this way or that way. And next time they do similar kind of practice questions, they don't make the same mistake again. Because once you make a mistake about anything, your brain focuses on that very specifically. And the brain then never allows you again to make the same kind of mistake. So learn first some rules, not all the rules, some general rules, do exercises and see how you go. And then learn something else again. And also start speaking using that specific preposition in everyday life. If you learn 5 rules on the preposition to, use those rules when you are learning and speaking in English. Implement in every sentence you are saying in English. Find all the opportunities and see how you're doing. All right. If you're still making mistake and if you're still confused about the rules of prepositions, let me know, then maybe I'll help you out. But before that, do all the things I have just mentioned and see how it works for you. All right. Okay. So we were in the topic of reliable resources. So yeah, reading style guides and grammar books are really authentic resources to improve your grammar. Take a class or see a tutor or a teacher. Now, yes, obviously, if you learn from someone who knows it all, that is going to be really helpful for you. All right. The third one, find online resources. So obviously there are online library, online dictionary, online thesaurus, online quizzes, online plays, games, and there are lots of websites as well where they share all the different tips, strategies, and rules for grammar rules in English. So yeah, if you can find such websites for free, those are really nice resources to improve your grammar. A comment from Julie, I always misunderstand the difference between could, should, would. Yes, Julie, I know. These are called models in English. And yes, there are subtle differences in could, would, should. So in that case, you can just Google the differences, like what is the use of could, should, and would, where do we use these models? Find out the rules, and maybe in one page, you write down, make 3 different columns, and write down all the rules or the differences between could, should, would. So when you see the differences in one page, everything at one place, you remember the differences better and you are likely to make less mistakes. But if you write the rules or the differences between could, should, maybe, for example, you will more likely to forget the differences. But if you keep everything in one specific place, in front of your eye all the time, like this is the specific difference between could and should, you are not going to make the same mistake again. All right, try to do this thing and see if that helps. Okay, so we are done with this. Then let's focus on how to improve collocation and vocabulary. Again, we have so far talked about how to improve our grammar knowledge. Now it's time to improve collocation and vocab. Set your goal. Now this is important. When you are learning grammar, when you're improving collocation, when you're improving vocabulary, set a goal. Why I'm doing this thing? Ask yourself first, what is my purpose of improving my English test? What is my purpose of improving my in general English? When you have a very specific goal or a very specific purpose of doing something, you will be highly motivated, highly focused into achieving your goal. So ask yourself, what is the main goal and purpose? Is it like for job, exams, or personal reasons? Why I'm doing this hard work? You have to ask yourself. How many new words every day? What is your time frame and schedule? How busy you are per day or per week or per month? And within your busy schedule, how many new words you can actually accommodate for everyday practice? In which specific areas you would like to expand on, if it is vocabulary or if it is collocation or if it is something else. What are your weak areas? You have to identify that first. And after understanding all of these things, schedule your activities. Stick to 15 minutes a day. This is a very short period of time. 15 minutes is not too much of time. You can always find 15 to 20 minutes every single day to practice and review your, progress so far. And these things really strengthen your purpose and really make you motivated to learn more. Get your stuff ready. So for example, buy a dictionary, buy a thesaurus, buy flashcards, worksheets, anything that helps you to learn better. All right. So setting your goal, understanding why I'm doing it, renewing your purpose and aim really helps and keeps you motivated to learn for better English. Comment from New. Can you give us some online resources that you have practiced? Okay, Neil, I'll consider this suggestion and I'll try to provide some other resources in some other live sessions, all right? I'll keep this thing in mind and I'll try to share it in upcoming live sessions for you. Okay. Use this 3-word rule. This is highly effective and very useful strategy when you are reading some books, novels, or articles. Okay, so what is the rule? So when you're reading an article or a story, maybe a children's story, make sure you don't have more than 3 unfamiliar words in one paragraph. So that's why I said, if you're a beginner level English learner, don't start with novels or complex articles or newspapers, because those things will have more unfamiliar words for you and that will make you demotivated. Instead, start from children book, easy books. And obviously, in one paragraph, you will not have more than 3 unfamiliar words. If that is the case, skip that reading, okay? Take something which is very easy for you, and you have maximum 3 unfamiliar words in one paragraph. If that is the case, if that happens, write them down. So write down those 3 unfamiliar words and then look up the definitions and synonyms of those words. So the meaning of that word and the synonym of some other words. Then read the text again alongside your written definitions. And this time you will see significant improvement. So yeah, read a text, identify maximum 3 unfamiliar words from each paragraph, write down the definition and synonym of each word. After knowing the differences or the definitions of these 3 words, read the same paragraph again, but this time with the meaning of those unfamiliar words. And that's how you can improve your vocab knowledge and collocation knowledge as well. So this 3-word rule is very important and has been effective so far for beginner level learners. Another way is maintaining a thesaurus, word log, or dictionary for your everyday practice of English language. So purchase both a thesaurus and an English to English dictionary. Don't use English to, some other language. If Vietnamese, for example, is your mother language, don't use a dictionary, English Vietnamese, because that way you are relying too much in your mother language again. Use English to English dictionary. So you will have one English word that you don't know, and they will use other English words to explain the meaning. And those English words are very easy for you to understand. So this way you will be more proficient in English. So what is the difference between dictionary and thesaurus? So a dictionary is a book which gives you the meaning of a new word and also the pronunciation. How do you pronounce a very specific word? It will also give you an example of the word in a sentence, showing how you just use that word in everyday conversation and work. So in a dictionary, you see a new word, they will give you the meaning of that new word, they will give you the pronunciation, and also some example sentences. However, for a thesaurus, that's a little bit different. So in thesaurus, for one specific word, they will also mention all the synonyms, all the other words, which are quite different in spelling, but they have the same meaning. So for example, for one word like intent, as the picture shows here in this slide, intent is one word, adjective. So in a thesaurus, they will give you the meaning of intent and then also some other words which are synonym of intent. So the meaning of other words which are pretty similar. So when you're learning new things, for example, using the 3-word rule, use both thesaurus and dictionary. So from dictionary, you can learn the meaning, you can learn some example sentences, and from thesaurus, you can also learn some synonyms that you can use for that specific word. And then using this thesaurus and dictionary, you can use the word log, where you can write down all the things that you're learning every day. Active listening is another way to improve your vocabulary and collocation knowledge, all right? So yeah, it means listening to someone when they're speaking and understanding what type of words they're using, what type of sentences they're using. So that is active listening skill. Using audiobooks is also another way. Audiobooks means, like where you listen to a book, you don't have to read that through, you can just listen and someone else will be speaking of all the sentences. So you can find these audiobooks anywhere, from online resources to your local library. So if you have a local library in your area, from there you can also purchase or lend an audiobook, which is really important. Audiobooks can teach you the exact pronunciation and placement of every word. So yeah, when you are listening a story from an audiobook, you are not only understanding or listening every sentence, but also in the process, you're learning a pronunciation. So if a word is very new for you, you learn that meaning, but also you're learning a pronunciation that is missing from simply reading a book. So that's an extra advantage of audiobook. You learn the pronunciation at the same time. And yes, what if you do not understand every word? This will likely be the case. If you are listening from an audiobook, obviously some words will be new and you will not understand every word. But that's the advantage basically, okay? Words are much clearer when you listen to a word in a specific context or in a conversation. Even if you don't know the meaning, you can guess or you can predict the meaning from the context. Open Culture and Loyal Books are two great places to start. So these two are two websites, Open Culture and Loyal Books. You can find lots of free audiobooks in these websites that you can download and start listening and improve your pronunciation and vocabulary knowledge. All right, last bits of today's live session, myths. All right, we are almost about at the end of finishing out today's live session. So myths, we are going to talk about two myths today. The first myth regarding the reading section and also for listening section as well regarding multiple choice. So you have multiple choice, multiple answers, one kind of question in reading section and also in listening section. So there are some people will ask you to do like choose all the options in multiple choice, multiple answers. Some people will say if this is very confusing for you, don't choose any option, just skip the question. In both situations, like choosing or not choosing, both are wrong approaches, okay? This is not the right strategy because if you choose all the options on multiple choice, multiple answer questions, you will receive 0 points because in multiple choice, multiple answer questions, you have negative marking. So for example, if 2 answers are correct, you choose 1 correct answer and you choose 1 wrong answer, +1, -1, you'll get 0. So if you are confused, don't choose options that you are not 100% sure about, okay? So my suggestion would be proceed with caution. If you are doing reading section or if you are doing listening section and you have multiple choice, multiple answer, if you're not confident about something, don't choose that option. If you're confident about one answer only, stick with one. Even if multiple answers are the correct one, but just choose one. Don't choose more than one because otherwise you'll get 0 because you have negative marking. So if you're not sure about any answer, then at least select one of the options. If your guess is correct, you will receive 1 point. Otherwise, you will receive 0, which you would have received anyway if you had skipped the question. So don't choose all the answers because you will get 0. Don't skip the answers because that way you are missing out the chance of getting 1 point. So my suggestion is even if it is multiple choice, multiple answer question, don't choose multiple options unless you're 100% sure. Just choose one. In case that is right, you're getting 1 point. If that's wrong, you're getting 0. At least you are not getting anything minus or negative. So yeah, don't follow the people's suggestion who will say choose all or choose nothing in multiple choice, multiple answer. Always choose only one option, even if you are not confident about it. Don't skip the questions. Second myth about PTE, especially for essay writing, is that using fancy vocabulary to score higher. Some people will say if you use higher level English words or some words that are very hard that we don't use in our everyday life, you will score more, you will score higher. This is absolutely wrong because just because a word is advanced level word doesn't mean it will fetch you a higher score. If that's inappropriate in the context for the topic, you will not get any score. The computer will never gonna give you a higher score for that. Use words that you know make sense in this specific content or a specific topic. Otherwise, stay away from using and taking risk of using words that you are not very sure about. So my suggestion would be using context or context-specific vocabulary. If the essay topic is on education, don't use a fancy word from other topic, for example, on politics, for example, on health. Don't use words from those. And you use words that you know confidently. Don't take risks of using words that you don't know the meaning for sure. Use only the words you know confidently. Now, for example, in the picture here, there are two pictures. On the top one, words to use instead of very. So in it doesn't matter what is the topic. In every sentence, you can use the word very. Now, to avoid sounding monotonous or boring, you can use other words instead of very. For example, extremely, obviously, remarkably, greatly. These are other synonyms of the word very. Now, you can experiment using fancy words for the word very because these words you can use in any context. But the other word here, for example, wabi sabi. What is the meaning of it? Because this is a very fancy vocab. It means the discovery of beauty in imperfection, the acceptance of the cycle of life and death. This is kind of like hi-fi word, which is very fancy, and we don't use these kinds of word in our everyday life. Now, if you just put this word in a topic, in an essay topic, where they're asking you to write on education system, obviously, just because this word is fancy, you're not gonna get high score. The computer will think you are a stupid person. You don't know where to use what type of word, and they will give you less mark. So yeah, this is also very important. Use words only which you know 100% accurately. It doesn't matter if the word is very simple and ordinary. You can still get 100% full mark if you place that word in a very specific content appropriately. So yeah, these are the two myths. Don't feel pressurized to learn so many new things. Whatever you know, just use that appropriately and you should be fine. All right. That's all from me for tonight. Let me know if you have any questions. From Min, I will off now. Got to go eat dinner. Yes, Min, that's the case for me as well. It's pretty night here in Melbourne, and time to eat dinner. So I hope you will have a lovely dinner, Min, and I hope this session was very useful for you. And also one more thing for all the viewers, I want to say in our Facebook page of PTE Leader, we introduce different content and topic related vocabulary each week. So feel free to visit our Facebook page and Facebook group as well. And you can learn so many topic related words, like for example, business, education, health, politics. So there are lots of words that we introduce in our Facebook page, and you can keep a track of those vocab words and use those words in your everyday life as well. And in writing essay, writing summaries, why not? Like take every single opportunity you are given. From Julie, thanks. You're most welcome, Julie. From Fan, thanks a lot. This is very helpful. Yes, Fan, I'm very glad that you found it helpful and got to learn something new. From Jack, very useful. From Neil, thanks, Nosh. It's useful for me. Yeah, Neil, thank you so much. I'm very glad that all the lessons that I'm just talking about is very helpful for you. From Trung, thanks, Nosh. Thanks, Truk. It's my pleasure. And I really expect that all of you have a lovely evening in Vietnam and night, all the Melbourneians. Right. And also you can suggest me some topics if you want to listen to in our upcoming lives. If you have any suggestions, you can also mention those in comment boxes as well. So I'll try to cover those in our upcoming lives. All right. So I will take your leave for now. I'll see you again next Thursday in the same time, in the same place in our official Facebook page. Till then, stay healthy and keep yourself safe from COVID. All right. Thank you so much for joining with me for today's live session. I'll see you next week. Bye.